going on? It's CVV, Chris Van Vliet, and you are checking out the 3 Count Podcast.
Hit him with a 3 count. Pin him to the ground and the crowd go wild, man down, know what y'all like. Hit him with a 3 count. On the top rope.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's your boy, your nephew, your cousin. It's the Dawn of Pro Wrestling and the host of the 3 Count Podcast debate show, Chaz Evans. And you're checking out the debate show. Here always with my partner, the guy who I'm going to debate today. He's the only one here, so guess what? It's going to be an awesome show. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the Red Dog of Red Dogs. He is the landlord of the Dog Pound. He's the man that runs the show because, quite frankly, I really don't do much. All right? He is the Red Dog, Cliff Miller.
Yeah, it's me, the Air Force veteran intel specialist, the one you call on when you need to get the job done, and your friendly neighborhood Red Dog. Also, the champion of chit chat and the Donnie Wahlberg of the 3 Count Podcast.
That's awesome. All right. We were off last week because of the national wrestling holiday that is WrestleMania weekend. So we had to observe the holiday. So we took off. We are back. We're going to talk a bunch of WrestleMania today, and we're going to talk a lot of wrestling. So with that being said, let's get through some intro and some announcements. So if you have not already done so, go buy yourself a shirt. Okay, you see it up there behind my boy Red Dog. Yeah, you got 2 of our shirts. You got the OG Crew shirt, and you got our 3 Count logo shirt. Go buy that shirt at prowrestlingtees.com/3 Count Pod. If you have not already done so, make sure you follow us on all of your favorite social media as you see below us, whether it's on Twitter at 3count_pod, Instagram, TikTok 3 Count Pod, Facebook 3 Count Podcast. Give us a like over there, share with your friends. Also, for all of our podcast listeners, make sure you give us a 5-star frog splash review on Apple Podcasts. Give us a like, share with all of your friends. And for our live viewers right now on YouTube, whether it's YouTube, Twitch, and wherever the heck else we're live. Oh, Facebook. We're live everywhere. If you're on YouTube and Twitch, make sure you subscribe to our channels, okay? So you always get notified when we go live. So, Cliff, before we get started on our debate, let's go see what's in the works for now entering the ring.
All right, well, this episode of the 3 Count Podcast debate show is not by Mountain Dew. They are not sponsoring this. So if you guys see the new Spark flavor, they are not sponsoring this. They are not paying us for this. So we're just out here, just drinking this on there. So if you guys need to, have a spark in you. Anyway, now entering the ring, we do have 2 episodes coming in. But let's talk about the last 2 episodes that we had out. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, O'Shea Edwards was on the show, as well as Killian McMurphy. So we had both of them on. It was a great time. Had a lot of fun with both those guys. This week, you're going to be getting Jason Heat, commentator, promoter, the works. Like, he's just an incredible person to talk with. And then we got to talk about the next person coming in on Thursday. Let's be upfront. Let's be honest. It's going to be Eel O'Neill.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Yes.
We had such a great conversation and really just has a mind for the business that really can elevate anybody's game. So tune in, check it out. It's going to be a great time. So
I've been fortunate to be in a couple of locker rooms with Eel, and just, like when he speaks, I for sure listen. So definitely go check that one out. We're going to switch things up a bit. We're going to get right into our debate topics, okay? I know usually we get match of the week, but we're going to try something different. So, first debate topic, all right? WrestleMania has came and it has gone. For over the past couple years, we have had 2 nights of WrestleMania. This is now the 3rd year. They have done 2 nights. And the topic or the conversation that has been brought within the wrestling community is whether or not WrestleMania should go back to being 1 night. So that's our topic. Should WrestleMania go back to 1 night? Go ahead, Cliff. You can start this one.
Nah, I definitely like the 2-night aspect of it, especially when Wrestle Kingdom is doing their thing and they're on 2 nights. for New Japan. If you guys don't know what Wrestle Kingdom is, there you go. I definitely like the aspect of having 2 nights. It gives more matches, plus it gives more people opportunities to be on both or on WrestleMania. And I think that's important because they get to be on a bigger platform, more people get to see them, plus there's a larger crowd. So I feel like that I like the 2 night aspect of it. And now I would just tell people yeah, we need 2 nights of all of this.
Okay. I disagree. I think it should go back to one night. I really do. We gotta. Growing up, when WrestleMania was always, it was like the Super Bowl, right? And we always like to say WrestleMania is wrestling Super Bowl. It's the granddaddy of them all. It's like kind of like it's the end of the season, even though wrestling doesn't have seasons. It's kind of always from the Monday after WrestleMania all the way to WrestleMania next year. Boom, that's whatever, a season. So I think WrestleMania should only be one night for the simple fact is that not everybody can be on WrestleMania. Clearly, even with 2 nights, we see that they did not have the Andre the Giant Battle Royal on WrestleMania. It was on SmackDown. The Intercontinental and the U.S. title belts were not defended on WrestleMania. They were on what? The weekly shows that we get for free every week. WrestleMania, I feel like it's more of a cop out for 2 nights because it's like talent. You used to know that talent used to work hard all year long because hey, want to get a shot at WrestleMania, get a spot. Now we're doing 2 nights. Well, if we look at a WrestleMania card, we look what one night is normally what 5 matches, maybe 6, 7 matches. We're looking at roughly about for one night. If we do another night, add up double that, we're looking at 14 matches. And whereas half of those people probably wouldn't even be on the card. Your more important matches, the people that deserve that spot, go on WrestleMania one night. And also I had a friend of mine who, he's not an avid wrestling person. He catches it when it's on and not. He saw that it was on Saturday night and he was like, I didn't even know it was 2 nights. He watched Saturday night and thought that was it. Then he was like, they're talking about night 2 tomorrow night, and he was confused. So I think it's cool for Wrestle Kingdom to have their 2 nights. That was their thing. It was always their thing. Wrestle Kingdom, they had the 2 nights. I think WrestleMania, to keep that, what's the mantra of it? It needs to be one night. What else could have been a minute? And that's another thing. We, instead of putting on the match that we want to see, we put on a bunch of filler. If we want to be completely honest, a lot of this WrestleMania, as good as it was, and that's, we can debate. That's another debate for another day whether this WrestleMania was good or not. It was a lot of filler. If you really think about it.
I'm gonna harp back. You brought up some points I kind of want to touch back on, right? So not everybody. Okay, I do agree that not everybody deserves to be on WrestleMania. I do agree to that, right? Because it's WrestleMania. It's meant to be for like the stars of the stars, right? Like the big guy, right? It's the night to show off. But what I don't like is also WrestleMania being 8 hours long. Like I don't want to feel like I'm at a job to watch wrestling, right? So if we break it down to 3.5 hours. Like over 2 nights, that's 6 hours of wrestling. That's more tolerable than what would it be if it was sitting down watching 8 hours of wrestling like in one night. Like, and I only say that because like before COVID, right? That WrestleMania, it felt like a job to watch everything, and like we weren't even doing a podcast, but it just felt like a job, and I was like, I cannot engorge this much wrestling in one sitting and still think that I'm like, yeah, I'm really, really good. Because I think, was it the one before? Maybe it was the COVID. It was like 5 hours worth of wrestling, and I was like, that's 10 hours in 2 nights. I was like, that's still long, right?
Yeah, that was 2019.
Yeah. And so now we're looking back, and I'm like, yo, like seeing broken down 3.5 hours of wrestling, 4 hours, right, roughly, of wrestling. I'm okay with that. If you break it over 2 nights, and I kind of like that aspect, and that's why I think that 2 nights should work. I do agree that there are some matches that should be left off the card. Sorry, Kofi. Like, that 1 minute 30-second match, just it was not necessary. Right? Entrances were longer than the match actually went. Not okay with that. But I think a lot of the matches though this year though were actually really solid, and
Well, yeah, absolutely. I don't think like as far as the matches itself, I'm not saying that they were bad. It's just I feel like, for example, the Kofi match, that was a match could have been on SmackDown.
Yep.
That match could have been on SmackDown. And funny thing is the women's tag match, as good as it was, that could have been on Raw.
Yeah.
That could have been the Monday night after Raw. A hot match you put on it's the Monday night after WrestleMania. You need a fire match. Just go have the women out there and go kill it. That match, you could have put that on Raw. Have that open Raw.
Or at least it's funny though, because
open. I mean, I know Cody opened, but you could have put that right after Cody opened. That's a banger hour right there out of your 3-hour show, and you won't have people. You probably wouldn't have people much complaining about the Monday night,
because you could do 20 minutes. You could do a 20-minute match with all 4 of those women, well, all 8 of those women, and they would just tear it down.
Tear it down.
Yeah, and I think like I agree to the aspect. I still like the spectacle of it being on WrestleMania because let's be real, man, it's WrestleMania. Like, I agree. Yes, we could talk about the Raw after Mania, which this Raw after Mania wasn't really that Raw, right? Because SmackDown ended up becoming what Raw is gonna be. So SmackDown after WrestleMania is clearly the direction that WWE is going in now. I just think that with it being WrestleMania, and if we did it one night, like it's just a chore to watch 6 hours worth of wrestling.
Then that's the thing. And then what you do? What is AEW? Their pay-per-views are what normally 4 hours, correct?
They start 4.5.
4.5, like 4.5. They like 8 o'clock, 7:30 ish, something like that. They start and they go. They normally go to 11, sometimes 12, depending on the show. But I can be honest, the past 4 shows that AEW's put out, they've been that same long. It hasn't felt like a chore,
right?
And those they put on matches in those. There's not a lot of fluff in AEW's pay-per-views, and I don't want to try to start comparing AEW pay-per-views and WrestleMania. I don't want to start doing that, but if they can do that in 4.5 hours, I truly believe that WrestleMania can be 4.5 hours, and you can give me like WrestleMania in 4.5 hours. Let's be real. I don't need the Hall of Fame thing to be 20 minutes every year.
Right.
And then on top of the fact that they did it twice.
Yeah. That's what I had trouble with is like you put on like the same segments twice, right? You didn't have to, right? Like I think when it comes down to like AEW, it's just AEW has like this good rhythm of like getting their matches kind of going, whereas WWE, it is what it is. It's sports entertainment. That's what they call it. That's what it is. Like we're entertained by watching it. Where when we watch like AEW, we want to watch like these fantastic wrestling matches they can put on. But the problem though, also with AEW, is that by the time you get to that main event match, the crowd is dead.
That is true.
They've had all these excitements and they get these lows, you get these super highs, and the crowd live is dead. Meanwhile, like some people like we'll be watching at home. We're not in that same kind of environment, so we're still hyped for the main event, but you can feel that the crowd is just kind of worn out because they get taken on these huge roller coaster rides. Whereas at least in WWE, and I say this cautiously, is that it starts small. You get these small little ripples, right, and then it gets bigger, and then it starts crescendoing up, and you can get to a Stone Cold versus Kevin Owens, knowing that that match is going to happen, and you have Stone Cold Steve Austin out there bumping for 13 minutes, which, by the way, for not being away 19 years, and the fact that he was 13 minutes worth of just a match, bro, let's get it, right? But I think at the end of the day, though, my biggest issue is just that I don't want to sit in the stands. Like personally, I don't care what stadium it is, whether it's Sophie, Dallas, or I'm at Mile High, or even if I'm at M&T, right? I don't want to sit in a stadium chair for 5 hours. I just don't. Like, I don't even want to, like, listen, Oriole tickets are mad cheap, and I can watch any team that comes to play them. I don't want to be in that stadium for 4 hours watching baseball, let alone watching something that I want to watch, like wrestling. I don't want to sit in the stadium and just wait. Like, seats are uncomfortable as shit, man. Like, I'm just not trying to do it.
Oh yeah. That's fact. Stadium seats aren't the best at all. They aren't.
I don't want to walk. I don't want to get up like I'm in a 30-minute match bumping, walk around like, oh God, oh, I can't walk right. Let me put my hand on the front chair and pull myself up.
But it's just WrestleMania. It feels more grandiose when it's one night. It's WrestleMania, not WrestleMania night 1, night 2. It just to me it feels like you're cheapening it a little bit. You cheapen WrestleMania a little bit by giving, like, hey, it's like when what's it called, when they do the movies, like in those last franchise movies, they go part 1 and then part 2 a year later. Like, you could have just gave me the whole fucking movie.
No, first of all, let's be real. If the Infinity War movie came out with part 1 and 2, you are not sitting through 6 hours of 7 hours. Because the first one was like 3 hours, and then it was like a 4-hour movie after that. It felt like, so you ain't doing that. It was 5 hours. We'll even call it 5.5 hours, like 2.5 and a 3.5 hour movie. No, you're not doing that. Even if they broke it up and was like, intermission, come back in 10 minutes. I'm not coming back. Yeah, I'm not.
That's factual. But yeah, that's my stance on WrestleMania. It's one night, either you make it or you don't make it. Like, and then you give me matches that you've been building. Like, you focus on your 4, 5, 6 matches, and boom, there's WrestleMania. Boom, no night 2, none of that. Because then you start getting into the debate on whether who really did main event WrestleMania or not. Because, like, did Stone Cold and KO really main event WrestleMania? Or did it? Or was it Roman and Brock? Then you go, oh, no, they WrestleMania night 1, night 2. It's just, that's when you start getting asterisks, and then you start making, complication. Nah, just leave it one night, be done with it.
And Mr. Richard, that silly ass jackass match, 100% needed to be in there because that shit was lit. Listen, when it came to telling a story about a guy who clearly was outmatched and was just using everything under the sun to get the win over Sami Zayn, and Sami carrying that match left, right, and center and bumping his ass off, no. I was all about that match. I was so grateful that Sami Zayn was a person put in that position, just like I was grateful to see KO in a position to face Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Not fact. I as much as I hated all of Johnny Knoxville and Sami up till like the bell rang, I was like, not for it. I was like, I get it. Got to get your celebrity appearances in. Like I get it. WrestleMania, WrestleMania. But I enjoy the ridiculousness of it, because I was in the chat with you. I was like, this is ridiculous in a good way and bad, but like it's entertaining.
It really was. Like, I know like a bunch of my friends who don't watch wrestling were all talking about that match, and that just tells you that. And these are guys who were fans of like the Attitude Era, watched a little bit of the Aggression Era, and then just kind of fell out of wrestling after that. But these were guys who went back. They just happened to be watching the Peacock Network, saw WrestleMania 1, check it out, and that was the match that they started with, which I was like, there's so many other matches you could have picked. But the fact you actually sat down and watched this one, I was okay with. They also watched Pat McAfee and Austin Theory, which, again, that match to me was Adam Cole in NXT. So I thought it was a good match. I didn't really mind it, but I was like, they're all like, yeah, you see how great Pat McAfee did in there? Any NFL player could be better at this than wrestlers. I was like,
all righty.
Yeah. Austin Theory did nothing in that match. Okay. Thanks, guys.
But nah, yeah. All right, let's move on. Temp check. So you don't know, for those of you who are not avid 3 count listeners, let me explain temp check. Temp check is me and Cliff are going to give you either our hottest and or coldest wrestlers going into this week. I will start us off by having my coldest wrestler of the week, Sean Spears. Yep, has not changed. Sean Spears, coldest wrestler of the week. Hottest wrestler going into this week. I gotta be honest. I think it's it's crazy enough how I'm going against my tribal chief this time. But it's Cody. I think it's either toss up between Cody and Roman. I think you can make a case in point for both of those, but just the media attention that Cody has gotten all this week is very, very prevalent on, I think, what they're trying to do with Cody, which will lead into our next topic coming up. But I think, Cody definitely is my hottest wrestler of the week. And of course, Sean Spears, coldest.
Okay. So I'm going to give you my hottest wrestler from last week. And that would be Allie Catch. She was everywhere. Just all like it seemed like there was like 5 wrestling shows going on last week for WrestleMania week, and she was on all of them.
Yeah.
She was everywhere. So big ups, and that's who I would say my hottest wrestler last week was. Hottest wrestler of this week. Listen, like I think during the week, if this show would have came on a Thursday, I would 100% agree with you. Cody is that guy, right? Cody, and like you could toss it between Cody and Roman because they were like they were just the main topic, right? And like you said, this main event, everything it was just discussion boards about them. But then a certain match happened last night that people had been rumbling about for a long time. And I'm going to say that my hottest wrestler of the week is Wheeler Yuta.
I just love that people are finally getting on his bandwagon. I just wanted to say I was on his bandwagon before he got signed. Like, I just want to like the young indie talent that AEW signed, whether it's Yuta, Daniel Garcia, Lee Moriarty. I was on that bandwagon before they were signed. Just want to put it out there. Before they were in the AEW mobile game, I was a fan. I was already fantasy booking them. But nah, man, Willie Yuta. That I watched it once and I said I'm gonna watch it again. I was gonna watch it before the show, but I didn't have time, so I'm gonna probably watch it once we get off because I enjoyed it. I really did.
Such a great like moment for him, especially because last week winning the pure wrestling title in ROH and then defending it here against Jon Moxley in this match, and it was just gold. Like it was just gold. That's definitely how you make stars, is you have them just with your superstars and you just give them the rub. And like, yeah, he lost the match, man, but did he really lose?
No, he joined in the Blackpool Combat Club. He's official,
and he's just a monster now. So I love it. I loved it. I will say my coldest wrestler of the week, though, man, I'm a huge fan of his dad's, but Dominic, man, like we got to do something for you, bro, because you are ice cold.
And the funny thing is this, speaking of Dominic, I was, if you have not already, make sure you go cop your WWE 2K. Oop, my thing almost fell. Your 2K22. I was playing as him. And he's actually dope to play with. He's got cool combos. I was like, hey. And then just too bad this can't translate into real life.
Right.
All righty. Here we go. Let's move to our second topic for today. Like I said, it's mentioning Cody because we talked about Cody earlier. With Cody being in WWE, the question has come back up. Who is the one to beat Roman Reigns? Who is the one to finally give him His first L. Is Cody Rhodes the one to beat Roman Reigns? Go ahead, Cliff.
No. Just flat out. I know he's the hottest babyface right now in WWE. Give it 2 more weeks, it'll probably fizzle out. Yeah, I said it. And then people will go back to not liking him. Like, it's just the way it's gonna work. I think I just can't see it being Cody. And I was very adamant when we started this, right? And saying that Cody's going to be competing competitively for a mid-card title, whether it's the US title or the Intercontinental title or tag titles. And I don't want to call it tag titles mid because that's not what I mean, but he's just not, they won't push him to be that person leading the pack. So I think if I'm going to pick somebody who's going to take the title off of him, it's probably not going to, I don't know, to put it nicely, I think it could be, it's going to be somebody that has a little bit more fire behind them. And I just don't think that person is in the main roster right now.
So you think it's somebody from NXT? So you think somebody in the Performance Center?
I don't even think it's someone in the Performance Center.
So you think it's okay? So you think it's somebody from AEW?
Somebody I think it's going to be
that's going to jump ship and take.
Yeah, it's got to be. Like, can you really honestly tell me that, like, right now, right this moment, you think Cody Rhodes is a dude that's going to beat Roman?
Yes.
Let me hear your argument for such.
All right, so I'll look at it. Here we go. So go back to when we're talking temp check. The media attention Cody's getting, all right? And if Cody's been talking a lot about this redemption thing, and we all know the whole arc, blah. Here's the thing. I don't think they're paying Cody the amount of money they're paying Cody to be mid. I don't think they're doing that. They don't like. I really do believe that Cody Rhodes is the one to take the bet off Roman, and here's why. Before Cody even was signed, the rumors were going around. They were telling Vince that if they want to bring Cody, they had to bring in the Cody Rhodes who was just on AEW, bringing the same Cody, how he was there, all that. Okay, you get that Cody Rhodes, and you bring him over to WWE. You give him a couple of programs to build him up so that the WWE audience can see what he can do. For those who haven't seen him in a while, who don't watch AEW, he's the one to beat Roman. Who else is going to beat Roman? It's not going to be Volta. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Gunther.
Not going to be Gunther. Is much like who? It's not going to be Nakamura. Let's be real. It's not gonna be Nakamura. Who else on like? It's not gonna be Bobby. It's not going to be KO. It's not gonna be Seth. There is nobody. Roman's beating everybody. He'll probably hold the belt till SummerSlam. SummerSlam, Cody will probably win it. And I honestly, I do think what might happen is I think Cody's gonna win Money in the Bank. I think that's the way they do it. Have Cody for the next couple months, because I think Money in the Bank is in June. At least it used to be in June. Money in the Bank's in June. Let him do a couple of programs. Let him cash in on Roman. Boom, bada bing. There his is. It's just Cody Rhodes is the only legitimate contender for that belt that looks like he can take it. He's already beaten everybody. Like at this point, no one on that main roster can beat Roman. He's beaten Brock Lesnar. He beat Brock Lesnar clean. That's it. It's just, this Cody Rhodes is not Cody Rhodes of mid. Okay, this ain't the mid Cody Rhodes. All right, and also forgetting he was mid in AEW because he chose to be.
Yeah, so he limited himself.
Yeah,
So
he's
my
not.
thing,
Okay,
okay, my
yes, he's doing
problem.
himself, but it's not wrong. Here's the thing, and I mean, we already know they hated him for limiting himself, and they hated him for not limiting himself. Like he was going to get hit. He will be hated regardless. You're in power. You're in power. When you're a person of power, you get hated. Now, why do you think we hate Kenny? Why do you think we hate the Bucks? Besides the normal reasons why we hate Kenny and the Bucks, like we hate them because what? They went off and decided to go build their own a wrestling company, and they had some billionaire and they suckered him into doing it. And now look,
First of all, that's a very profitable show.
it is a very profitable show.
It's a very profitable show.
It is not discrediting, and I say that by all means, not discrediting AEW and all the massive success that they have accomplished over the last couple of years, because
We'll
they
see you
have
guys
done
in
a
a
lot.
month. No, I think okay. So here's my problem, right? So I love the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, right? I'm so glad that he's there. But my problem though is that he kind of put himself in that basket of being in the mid range, right? And he beat Seth, right, at WrestleMania, right? They had a
And
great
probably
20
was probably one of the best matches of WrestleMania.
right. And I was gonna say 21 minutes worth of a match. That was definitely great, and I loved it, right? But my problem with Cody is that I don't want to listen, man. Like between now and I'll even call it like 3 months, right? The crowd is going to turn on Cody just like they did at AEW. It's just gonna happen, and the reason why is because Cody has this ability of cutting these fly ass promos and talking about stuff, and then like all of a sudden he says like one or two wrong things, and they're gonna be like, "That's it, there he is. That's the Cody Rhodes that we remember from AEW," and they're gonna start turning on him. They're gonna start booing him, and it's gonna happen. And unfortunately, everybody's gonna be like, "Well, why would you say that?" Like because that's what happened at AEW. Like he was the face. He led the charge right against Jericho and the the inner circle, right? And then like that whole thing fell apart. And then he was working all those matches. He did that promo against Anthony Ogogo, and the crowd turned. Like, and if you think that it's not going to happen again, because WWE will put him against somebody that will be like that dude, right? I could even Cody Rhodes against like Edge or against AJ Styles or shit. Could put him against Rey Mysterio, right? The crowd's gonna flip, and they're just not gonna like him. And this will be all before SummerSlam, and we're all gonna be like, "But I thought we all loved Cody."
Oh, the Anthony Ogogo thing, the promo was out of touch. That was just it was just out of touch. He backed himself into a corner when he tried to make it. When he tried to make it, when he didn't try, when he tried not to, but made it political. when he brought about how he was British, Anthony Ogogo was British, and the American thing, and then not on top of the fact that Anthony Ogogo is a black British man, so it doesn't. So he backed himself into a corner with that promo point blank,
And then he tried to talk about how his daughter was
his
gonna
daughter,
be
yes,
the epitome of American culture, and
yes, he tried to give me the American promo, but it's not the '80s. Not everybody's all patriotic anymore. Let's just keep it,
And unfortunately, that's sad. I'll say it that way.
It's just. He backed himself into that. So the Anthony Ogogo thing, and they turned on him because he did it to himself. I highly doubt that WWE is going to let him cut that same promo or that same type of promo. So he's not going to get back into that corner. I just think we need to get over the fact that Cody was mid in AEW because number one, he chose that. That was his choice. And we need to, see him for what he is. He's a star. Cody Rhodes is a superstar. Excuse me. He's like, reality show, game shows, appearances he left out the wazoo. He's a superstar. Whether we want to believe, whether we like it or not, he is. He is marketable.
Which, by the way, the reality show, not a thing anymore. The Go Big show, He's not even in that position anymore. Took him off both those shows.
Well, I mean, duh. I mean, that duh. I mean, we knew that was gonna happen. We said it from jump. We said it when he left, and
Yeah.
I know for a fact I was sitting in this chair. We said it from that like more than likely those wouldn't be there anymore because it was a TNT thing. We knew that though, and I think he knew that. And it comes out, and it's like there's not. It is not like to say that WWE can't get him another reality show.
I mean, it can be rose to the top.
You're right. It won't be rose to the top.
be like
Crossroads.
Cody. Yeah, Crossroads. I like that.
Crossroads. That's the documentary. That's the WWE 24 special right there. He's probably the next guest on Steve Austin's show.
Yeah, and they're gonna sit there and talk about AEW and like all the stuff that happened and blah 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 blah. It's weird how Stone Cold is quickly becoming like the Chris Jericho, the Talk is Jericho podcast.
Yeah, that's fact. Yeah.
We want that to be our show. Come on our show and talk like that,
please.
We welcome everybody.
But no, Cody. Yeah, Cody's the one. It's as of today. Now, granted, like I said, my answer could change based on who they decide to push and all that stuff right now. But if I'm looking, if I'm in the booking chair and I'm going, all right, I need to figure out who's taking the belt off of Roman and when. If I'm looking to say, all right, let's have him be undisputed champion. Let him hold it till SummerSlam, or hell, let him hold it till Survivor Series at least. Survivor Series. Okay, cool. I'm looking at my roster. I'm looking like, all right, I got a star in Cody. I know I have a star, and I know that the people that's what the people want in the back of their mind. They're like, oh, we want Cody to win the belt for the big one, and I can do it for my dad. It's everyone loves a good comeback story. It's just so boom. I got Cody. I'm gonna book Cody to not only in these different programs, get himself over. I mean, he's already over, as we saw not only at WrestleMania but on Raw. Get him some wins under his belt, have him go in and Money in the Bank, win the Money in the Bank, hold the briefcase, and he cashed in at Survivor Series when they're doing SmackDown versus Raw. Boom. Oh my goodness, Cody's your new undisputed champion. And then I can set up, because I think WWE has so many heels anyway. Not a lot of baby faces. So there's a lot of couple heels that he can run through as champion. But it's Cody. And if it's not, I think it's a letdown. If it's not, if it's anybody on the roster now, it's a letdown. That's number one. It's a letdown. It's just gonna diminish Roman's reign. Roman's reign as champion. If it's not Cody,
I don't.
Because he beat everybody. He beat Goldberg, right? Didn't he beat Goldberg?
Yeah.
Didn't he beat Cena?
Yeah, he beat Cena.
Didn't he beat KO? Didn't he beat Finn?
He beat the Demon.
He beat the Demon. That's even better. He beat the Demon.
He beat the Demon. Due to a fluke.
He beat Braun. He beat the Fiend. He beat everyone. He's beating everybody. He's beating Brock. And if you never tell me that the person that takes the belt off of Roman, right, is not somebody who I think that could go at least go give Brock a money, a run for his money, then it's less than. Because let's be honest, if we look at out of all those faces, if they can't beat Brock, if they don't stand a chance against Brock, that makes Roman look weak.
Yeah, I just think that the person that
it's like Cesaro, like Cesaro, he beat Cesaro. There's another one. Like let's just say that's like saying like Tyson Kidd, and this is an example. Let's say Tyson Kidd beat Roman for the belt. What?
Yeah, exactly. And here's my thing.
That's what it is. If you feel like that's how it feels like, with all if you put anybody on the main roster then now. Oh, he beat Roman for the belt. Ew, what? You get that little, because like you look at all the names. If it ain't Dwayne the Rock Johnson, okay, then it's got to be Cody.
No, I think the person that is going to be the person that dethrones Roman is John Moxley.
What?
Yeah, so Moxley has he's in his opt-out year. So he's in his final year. And seeing how his contract ends in March of next year, and WrestleMania is not till April 1st, you have plenty of time to back out and then just start in January, start building it up. Like between him and Moxley. I don't think it's Cody. I just don't. Like I can't lean on it and just be like, yeah, it's Cody. You know, Rodney said he thinks it's Drew. Like
And
he's already beaten
so
Drew.
the funny thing is this: I thought it was Drew. Then they didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
I thought it would have been Drew, but I now looking at it, especially with them doing with Nakamura first, Drew's not going to take it either. It will probably look and feel and smell and taste like Drew is going to be the one. But Drew's going to fail. That's
And
the
now
only
that
one.
one person has.
That is the only one person that I'll let somebody give me a good argument and be like, I can see it. I can see it. It's
I
Drew.
will. You know what?
But Drew is still going to lose.
If I can't get John Moxley as my pick, I'll take Randy Orton.
Oh my!
I don't think he's beaten Randy. He hasn't faced him, and we both agreed on this very program that the last 2 years has been the best Randy Orton that we've seen.
That's true. Yes.
And if you don't think that we can't build him, like even if he turns heel, we get heel Randy Orton against Roman, right? Because Roman's not really a heel. He's not really a face. He's our tribal chief.
He's
But
on God mode.
he's on, yeah, God mode. So anyway, if he turns on Riddle, right, and beats Riddle, and then turns around and beats Drew, now you're looking at a guy that possibly is building up to take on Roman, especially if he beats Cody. Now you're looking at that guy. Like I think Randy could be the dude that you build up.
And then Cody takes it from Randy, and it all comes full circle.
Whatever, but he's not the one to take out Roman.
Whatever, bro. I'm not. Randy said he got like 10 more years in him, so
I know
it
has to be believable. Also, Cody can't be the one unless it's a bullshit win.
Oh, come on now.
Well, we just said Randy wins it, and then Cody cashes in.
It's Cody, bro. It's Cody. I mean, I don't.
Just like
it's just. I have this love-hate relationship with Randy Orton. It's like when he's not motivated, I can tell, and he can go piss off, and I don't like him.
Right.
When he's motivated, he puts on the best stuff, and that's when I'm like, yeah, Randy Orton, GOAT tier. That's the GOAT. I feel like it's one of those times. It's like it's gonna come a time where Randy's not interested, and I'm gonna tell he's not interested, and I'm just gonna be like, here we go, same old Randy, same old. Here we go, clothesline, power slam. It's the same. That's how I was feeling with Randy till Edge came back.
I mean, I still felt like he put on like great matches with like Edge, and then he just kind of went back to his own regular self.
Yeah, once he went back, the stuff with Drew wasn't good. It was cool to have him as champion, but like the stuff with Drew wasn't good. It wasn't until Riddle he's been really entertaining. That was Fiend. The Fiend stuff wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. It just they dragged it on too long.
I think when Riddle and you guys all laughed at me, and I remember because we'll pull back footage from previous, but I said I was like, RK Bros is gonna be one of the best things. We're gonna talk about it for a long time, and everybody's like, nah, man, that thing is trash. And also here we all are. RK Bros is so good.
Yeah, no, that I'm not afraid to admit that I was I was a naysayer. I was like, this is only going to last like a month and a half. This won't last till Mania.
You know what's funny though is that this is like, and I'll say like this, right? And I don't want to be like that dude, but this is the second gimmick that I was able to get behind and like really believe in it, and then everybody else came around to it too. So like the first one was when Bray Wyatt came back and he was like the Mr. Rogers Bray Wyatt, and I was telling him, I was like, dude, this is gonna be gold. And I remember Anthony, right? It was like, no, it's stupid. I hate it. It's just so dumb. And then the next week, it was like, nah, Cliff, this is stupid. I don't like it. It doesn't make any sense. It's just going to be terrible. And then the moment that the Fiend showed up, dude, this is the best thing I've ever seen, man. And I really like it. It was like, whatever, man.
I remember that. And I wasn't a detractor of it. I just wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know. I don't get it. I didn't get it. So I couldn't say it sucked. I thought it was a cool performance. I was like, oh, but.
And then he showed up to Survivor Series and just destroyed Finn Balor. It was like, let's go. We got a comment in here too. Roman is a spot, finish. Cody is more technical. Man, I'm telling you right now, Roman can be technical if he wants to be.
Yeah, and then Cody can get spot, finish. Like let's not forget all those matches in AEW where there was some type of shenanigans or foolishness in every big time match he had.
Are we not going to talk about the ladder match with Sammy Guevara before he left? Like
the spot.
Do you guys remember how that match ended? No, probably not. Sammy grabbing the title, but y'all going to be like, remember when Sammy jumped off and hit the cutter from the ladder? Yeah. Spot.
Remember the crossroads?
The crossroads off the top. Remember when he went through the table?
Spot. All right. Let's move on from match of the week. All right. So we're doing things different. Normally we start off with match of the week, but this time we put it in right here in the middle. So match of the week, we're going to give you what we feel as though our best match of the week. It could be any match from any promotion. Yes, those are always Brock and Roman matches. Our spot, finish. So yeah, match of the week. I'll start off first this time. My match of the week, it goes to the Young Bucks and FTR. Y'all know I'm a sucker for tag matches. If you put on a good tag match, I think any good tag match is better than any good one-on-one match. That's just me. I'm a tag team guy. So yeah, definitely Young Bucks, FTR too. I mean, why not? FTR needs to be. When we talk about one of the best tag team in the world, we need to start putting FTR in that conversation. Yes, all power go to the Usos. I mean, hey, you can say what you want about the Young Bucks. I wouldn't put them up there, but hey, everyone else does. But you need to put FTR in that conversation instead of it being the Usos and Young Bucks. It needs to be the Usos and FTR as one of the best tag teams on the planet. That's who we need to be talking about. And the Briscoes. We need to be talking about those four teams. Yeah. And stop leaving the other two out. All right, and I'm sorry, I had to get that off because that was almost our topic for the week. Is FTR the best team on the planet? Because the past 2 weeks, what? What are you gonna say? The Briscoes are?
I am gonna say the Briscoes.
Oh my god!
Come on, man! Like, first of all, like
I'm the Black Briscoe. I'm the Black Briscoes, okay? And I'm saying they're not the best tag team on the planet.
Listen.
O'Shea Edwards said to me and Prince Machiavelli that we're like the Black Briscoes. That is the most craziest and most like humbling comment I could have ever received. But even I'm not saying the Briscoes are the best tag team on the planet. Are they top 5? Yes, absolutely top 5.
Top 3 at least.
I'm not putting them in the top 3. Who are you putting over them?
Oh no, I'm gonna say like I'll listen. I could ruffle up your feathers. I could ruffle up your feathers and just watch you get irate. But real talk, if I was putting like a 3 out there, and I don't want to put them in any order, right? But Usos, FTR, and the Briscoes, hands down.
But who are you putting the two underneath? Who are the two teams, the top 5? Who are you putting underneath them then?
Oh, the Bucks.
Okay, I'll give you that.
And the New Day.
Get the fuck out of here! You're not putting the New Day. I'm all right. Go give your match of the week. I'm not about to do this. You're wilding. You're putting the New Day as 5th, and out of the Bucks, I would put the Bucks 5th, put the Briscoes 4, then put New Day, then Usos, then I'd put FTR.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest. Like
the Briscoes over the New Day.
Yeah.
Out of all 3 of the different comments, get out of here, bro. Get out, Cliff. Get out.
No, because right now one of them is not even wrestling anymore. Let's be real.
Still, even if not,
you know what?
Even Kofi and Xavier are a solid team.
But you're talking about over. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Over the Briscoes, yes. I would
put my match of the week from last week.
New Day over the Briscoes. I'd put my unborn child that's not even born, that's not even created yet. I put that one.
And you know what? That's why wrestling is subjective.
Briscoes.
That's why wrestling is subjective. I love teams that just smash mouth in your face tag team wrestling. That's the kind of tag team wrestling I like.
That's FTR. Hey,
and I didn't take him out of my top 3. But I will say that I did have the Briscoes. So get out of here with that. So anyway, let me talk about last week's match of the week, right? Because it's definitely important that we talk about this one, right? So if you guys did not go check this match out, go check this out. Also because shout outs, maybe one of our friends was involved in this match. But Michael Koo, Keita Charlie Bravo, PB Smooth, Keita Murray, Jay Diaz, and Andino from For the Culture. We definitely got to throw our flowers.
Andino, Pete.
we got to throw our flowers to him. So,
hey,
this week's though match of the week.
Andino. Shout out Andino making the 3 Count Podcast match of the week.
That's what I'm saying. And so for this week though, as much as my tag team partner here is a big tag team wrestling fan, I am a singles competitor myself. So I'm just gonna throw it out there. I already gave him his flowers, but I'm gonna give the match the flowers. Wheeler Yuta versus Jon Moxley, like on Rampage. Like so that match did for me.
So is that not your top list of your power rankings?
That would be my top
list. Oh, right.
Because we don't have the power rankings for this week, but we do have the WrestleMania week.
Yeah, WrestleMania. Right. I'm tripping that you off the Briscoes. I'm tripping off that. I gotta calm down because you
listen.
You threw me through a loop on that one. You said
but you know what? We'll keep it. We'll keep it above 50. The Briscoes have been around in ROH since pretty much ROH started, and they held down that whole entire company when things were going crazy for them. And as much as I love the New Day, they don't have the longevity that they done. Now they had the impact. I'll be honest. If I was to be like teams with the biggest impact, I think the New Day has had a bigger impact than the Briscoes. But when I look overall, I'm like, the Briscoes have been everywhere, and they've done it on their own. They didn't have a machine pushing them. It was just them. Just like FTR was just them. And then they became the Revival. Obviously, the machine pushed them. But then when they left, they were like, we're still just as big a stars as what we were in WWE, that we're out of it. And they've shown that. So that's why I was like, that's the other team. But they still make this impact. And watching their match at WrestleMania week, which, spoiler for those who don't know, is on my, the Multiverse of Madness. That match is on there because it was just so good.
Topic 3. We're talking about ROH. Speaking of the Briscoes, even though my good friend Cliff is on some type of hard narcotics to be putting the Briscoes over the New Day. But ROH, we know AEW, Tony Khan, Mr. Tony Khan. I gotta stop saying AEW. Mr. Tony Khan purchased ROH. ROH has a show there, Super Card of Honor. Last Friday, not last Friday, but the Friday previous to last Friday. That's a mouthful. And we saw new champions crowned. Some of those champions are signed AEW talents. Wheeler Yuta being one of them, FTR. So the question is, should Tony Khan keep the ROH and AEW rosters separate? What do you think, Cliff?
I mean, with the occasional ROH kind of getting the rub on AEW, like if Jonathan Gresham came on AEW to defend the ROH title, I think it's very important because you want to keep that title kind of relevant and keep that title of an upper echelon. I think you have him come back every once in a while to defend it, but for the predominant part, yeah, I think you have two different rosters. I just don't think that you should be mixing them all in together and just having the title belts kind of like mix and mash. So definitely think that you should just be able to, this title is on that show and it stays on that show. Because right now, like especially when Kenny was on the show, right? At one time he had the Impact title, he had the AEW heavyweight title, and then he had the AAA title. You know,
And the
it's like,
TNA belt. Don't forget the TNA belt.
And the TNA belt. But he had all those titles, right? And he's walking around with them, and then like he's like, I'm gonna defend the Impact title on Rampage against Christian Cage, and I'm gonna defend. Oh, I don't have a title. Oh, wait a minute, I have the AAA title. I'll defend that title, right? So we're still getting kind of rub, kind of like shine, like, hey, your title's being defended on our show in front of a like bigger American audience. Cool, but I think for right now, I think ROH definitely has to have its own show, its own roster. And then every once in a while, you can have them like come up and like defend the title on their show.
Yeah, I agree. I have to agree with you. That I was the same thing, same way. I feel like if you want ROH to continue to be ROH and to keep its identity, you gotta have your roster of ROH people and you keep them separate. They're champions, yes, absolutely. Have them come on the show on AEW, defend the belt, the belts on there, just like they did, like FTR did. They defended the ROH tag titles, just like Suzuki's about to do next week against Joe, which is about to be completely insane. Oh my gosh, Suzuki and Samoa Joe. That's just a crazy sentence just in itself for the ROH TV title. That sentence alone is crazy. But I think you do those, like you said, it gives the rub to the title, and whoever is holding the title gets them on TV, in a bigger audience on Turner Broadcasting. You have those title shots, but you keep them separate, because if not, ROH is just going to start to look like NXT on the network before the hype.
Yeah.
How about the NXT before the takeovers? And it's just a feeding system for them to just boom, move on up. And then, hey, all right, cool. We're going to bump you up to the AEW instead of Ring of Honor being its own thing. So yeah, I agree with you. Keep it separate.
I mean, that's what you have. AEW Dark Elevation, AEW Dark. You have Rampage, and you have Dynamite. That's the system.
Right.
That's the way you build up. I mean, that's what Tony Khan has said. So that's the way I would think that you need to keep it pushing, right? So that's why I lean with you on that. I'm just like, it should be two different rosters. And, every once in a while you can kind of mix them up, just to kind of be like, hey, like this championship's being defended on the show because, they want to give like the bigger spotlight to keep people watching. But yeah, I think for the most part, we need to stay the course, keep two different rosters, and don't do the SmackDown draft.
Oh my gosh.
Never. Just keep it.
And let's not do an invasion.
Yeah, let's not do an invasion.
Let's not. I mean, Impact already beat you to it.
Facts.
Impact beat you to it. They're doing an ROH invasion, so. And
honor no more. I love it.
I like it too. It's they're not trying to do the invasion, which is why I think I like it, because they're trying so hard not to do to make it different and everything. And they're trying so hard, and you can tell.
Yeah, it's
But
definitely the invasion, but they're definitely you can tell. You can tell.
yeah, it's the invasion. It's the invasion storyline. It's what it is. They can try to change up all the different things they want to do. It's invasion. But all right, it's time for the greatest segment. It's time for the best segment. It's time for the Red Dogs Power Ranking. Curated by the Red Dog.
Yo, all right. So we don't have the power rankings for this week, and the reason why is because I'm gonna be real. I needed a break after WrestleMania because for you guys who don't know, if you guys watch the TikTok page, you guys would see like I just kept bringing content after content after content on there, and I think it was like I think at one point I covered 23 different wrestling events that had happened between Raw to the Raw after WrestleMania. So there's a lot of events, a lot of wrestling to watch, a lot of time just staring at the screen, hoping that I was going to get it. So for the first year that we did this, the Power Rankings, WrestleMania, we did 20 matches. Last year, we did 20 matches. And here we are with the third annual WrestleMania top 20 matches of the week. And what we did is we went through and watched a bunch of different wrestling shows, and we kind of put our list together. So we're going to start off. If you guys want to know how I ranked these matches, it was by moments. I'll be 100% with everybody. So let's talk about number 20 when it was Ninja Mac versus Yo-Ye at a Bloodsport. Can we be honest? That 540 kick right at the end of the match. I was just that was my moment. All right, so let's get into number 19. It was Team Gringo versus Team Laredo at World of Lucha. Jumping into number 18. I actually enjoyed this match a lot. If you guys didn't get a chance to, go check it out. It will be Jody Threat versus La Rosa Negra on Bangers Only. So if you guys go check that out. We're moving into number 17. I think this is like the first of the main event shows that we normally cover. But it was the Young Bucks versus Top Flight at Rampage. So big ups to that match. Let's jump into number 16. Somebody said that this was a bad match. I disagree. But it was Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania Night 2. So sitting at 16. So number 15, it was Jordan Blade versus Kid Bandit versus Rico Gonzalez versus Shea Purse versus Keelan McMurphy versus Silvio Milano at Effie's Big Gay Brunch. I just had a lot of fun. Not to mention that, Keelan McMurphy and Jordan Blade have both been on our show. Let's talk about number 14. This is a hard-hitting match. I definitely enjoyed this a lot. So it was Jon Moxley versus AJ Gray at Joey Janela Spring Break Part 1. Let's go into number 13. It was Jack Cartwheel versus Alec Price at JCW versus LA Fight. Loved it. Number 12. This is another match. This is a dream match for me, and I'm just very grateful that I got to witness it. Bullet Club versus Motor City Machine Guns on Impact. So if you guys haven't checked that out, go check out that match. It was great. So moving to number 11, it was Dolph Ziggler versus Braun Breaker at NXT Stand and Deliver. So very fun. Number 10, this is probably low-key. This is probably my favorite match of the week for many reasons. But it was Mickie James versus Allie Katch at Joey Janela Spring Break Part 1. I was like, just a good all-around match. Let's jump into number 9. This was RK Bros versus Alpha Academy versus Street Profits WrestleMania Night 2. Talking about number 8. I'm just, you know what? It was Shane Taylor Promotions versus Hitmakers at For the Culture. So go watch that match. Let's talk about number 7. It is Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania Night 1.
I didn't like that match.
That's also why it's not ranked very high in this match. I mean, it is ranked high, but it's not ranked as high as what probably others would want it to be. But I thought the match was good, and I thought it was funny that Ronda got ended by a head kick again. So Let's talk about number 6. It is FTR versus the Briscoes at Impact's Wrestling Multiverse of Matches. So what would number 5 be? So let's start us off with the number 5 match. It was Thunder Rosa versus Trish Adora at Bangers Only. So much love to that one. Number 4, it was Edge versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania Night 2. Number 3, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania Night 2. Now I know it ended with like a flat ending, also because like Roman may or may not have got hurt in that match. But I thought the match all around was just a lot of fun to watch, and I was heavily invested and involved. Number 2, this would be Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch at WrestleMania Night 1. Like, I came in front. I was wrapped into the story, head to toe. And number 1, it would be Cody Rhodes versus Seth freaking Rollins at WrestleMania Night 1.
Mid, right? But I have to be the top 20 power ranking. The one time of the year we do this. The only time of the year we do this, where we do 20 matches, and the guy who you claim is mid, top that list.
Yeah,
but he can't take the belt off of Roman. Okay,
no, he can't.
All right.
You know what? How many times did we talk about Cody being number 1 in the power rankings when he was at AEW? A lot. I mean, he was number 1 on the list. A lot.
Yes, he was.
I never said he doesn't put on banger matches. I'm just saying that to me, he's always been in like that mid realm. And when you talk about the EVPs, you don't mention Cody first. It's always Kenny, the Bucks, and then Cody. And when he was in the Elite, Kenny, the Bucks, and Cody. When he was in ROH, it was Kenny, the Bucks, and Cody. Cody was always the third guy, like the third name you would say. When he was in Legacy, it was Randy, Cody, and Ted, because Ted DiBiase Jr. wasn't that guy.
Anyway, for those of you who have made it this far, for my PlayStation friends, you get a trophy. For my Xbox friends, you get the achievement. You have finished this episode of the 3 Count Podcast, because as I always say, trying to get through this show sometimes can be a doozy, but we thank you for sticking with us this long and this far. Make sure before we go, if you've not done so, you follow us on all of our social media platforms, okay? They're right there. Definitely follow us right there on TikTok. Follow us right there on Instagram. Well, that's my name, the Don, but below that, I'm trying to get it. Yeah, over there. There you go, Cliff. There, 3 Count Pod, Instagram. Then on Twitter, 3count_pod, Facebook, 3 Count Podcast. Give us a like. All right. On our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like our videos, share our video, subscribe, hit that bell button, okay? So you always get a notification when the video drops, because we got interviews coming up and they drop every other week, okay? Every other day.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, I don't know why I said every other week, but like they're interviews. They're there. We drop them. So make sure you got that bell button on so you know when we drop it. Also, for our podcast listeners, make sure you give us a 5-star frog splash review on Apple Podcasts. Like, share, subscribe, all that in between. Buy a shirt. And thanks. Thank you for listening to this awesome edition of the 3 Count Podcast Debate Show. I'm your boy, your nephew, your cousin, the Don Chaz Evans, here with my best friend. Oh, there we go, that way. He is the Red Dog of Red Dogs. He's the man that runs the show. Cliff, Red Dog Miller. Be there next week for the next episode of the Debate Show. Just be there. No more be there, be squared, be there, just be there. Just tune in, all right? 5:30 Eastern Standard Time on this, whatever channel you're watching it on, and be there, okay? I'll see you. And you too. Oh, yeah, and you. Don't hide.